You have been alive for roughly 657,000 hours. You have spent about 200,000 of them asleep, another 90,000 or so sitting in school, maybe 80,000 working, tens of thousands eating, commuting, waiting, and somewhere in what remains, you have been living. The question is whether you know it. Because research into how human beings actually experience time reveals something disturbing. The more comfortable your life becomes, the faster it disappears. This is not a metaphor, it is neuroscience. And understanding it changes everything about how you think about your days. Your brain does not experience time the way a clock measures it. A clock is indifferent. Every second is identical to the one before it. Your brain is something else entirely. It experiences time as a function of novelty, of surprise, of how much new information it has to process. Neuroscientist David Eagleman has spent decades studying how the brain codes time and found something that explains a great deal about why childhood feels infinite and adulthood disappears. When you are young, almost everything is new. Every experience requires your brain to build new neural architecture, new maps, new categories, new connections. All of that processing takes time. And that subjective sense of time expanding, of days feeling long, of summers feeling endless, is your brain working hard to make sense of a world it has not yet encoded. As you age, the opposite happens. Your brain has seen most of this before. It has already built the maps, the routine commute, the familiar office, the same conversations. These require almost no new processing. Your brain handles them automatically, unconsciously, cheaply. And when the brain is not actively building something new, it compresses time. It skips. The weeks blur. The years vanish. You look up one day and wonder where the last decade went. And the answer is that it went exactly where you put it. Into the comfortable, the familiar, the already known. Philosopher William James saw this in the 19th century before the neuroscience existed to explain it. He wrote that in youth, we may have an absolutely new experience with every hour. But later, whole years may pass without a new experience, and then the hours get indistinguishable from each other and become nothing. James was describing something every adult recognizes, the sensation that time accelerates as life gets more settled. And he was right. Not as poetry, as a description of what the brain is literally doing. This means that the way most people try to make their life feel meaningful is working against them. Security, routine, predictability. These are not just preferences. They are things the human nervous system genuinely craves. But they are also the conditions under which time vanishes fastest. Every time you choose comfort over novelty, your brain codes less. And the less your brain codes, the less time you subjectively experience. You are alive. But you are not accumulating experience at the rate your heartbeat suggests. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi spent decades studying what he called the optimal experience. States of flow in which time seems to both slow down and speed up simultaneously. His research found that the moments people report as most meaningful, most alive, most worth having lived. These are almost never the comfortable moments. They are the challenging ones. The ones that required something. That stretched a skill to its edge. That put you in a situation where your brain had no automatic response and had to construct one. These are the moments that get encoded, that feel long in memory, that feel, in retrospect, like they actually happened. The ancient Romans had a phrase for this. Memento mori. Remember that you will die. It was not meant as a threat. It was a contemplative practice. A deliberate and regular confrontation with the fact that time is finite. Used not to generate despair, but to generate attention, to make the present moment feel real. Researcher Jeff Greenberg and colleagues developed terror management theory from this insight, showing that when people are reminded of their mortality, they consistently make more meaningful choices. They prioritize relationships over achievements. They choose depth over surface. They stop performing their life and start living it. The tragedy is not that you are going to die. Every creature dies. The tragedy is the specific human capacity to spend a life at the minimum viable threshold of experience, safe, comfortable, entertained, not quite bored, and arrive at the end of it having accumulated very little of what actually makes time feel real. Not because you lacked opportunity, but because the brain's efficiency systems, optimized over millions of years for survival, are very bad at distinguishing between a life well spent and a life merely passed through. You have been alive for roughly 657,000 hours. The question is not how many are left. The question is what your brain will be asked to encode with them. Because the hours your brain does not have to work for, the hours of repetition, of habit, of comfortable autopilot, those hours are the ones that will not be there when you look back. Not because they were wasted, but because a brain that was not surprised was not keeping track. Time is not running out. It is running through. And the only thing that slows it down is the decision to put something new in front of it.